Mr. Atkinson, in his position as the accounts payable section manager, how much money did the accused siphon from the coffers of the Ministry of Health?
$1.2 million.
And how were you able to establish that figure?
Once we had reason to suspect that something was amiss, we hired forensic accountants to explore all the OHIP accounts handled by Peter Murdoch.
Now, when you discovered the discrepancies in Mr. Murdoch's account, what did you do?
Well, sir, I was the one who hired Mr. Murdoch and placed him in a position of public trust. I was shocked and hurt. I suspended him immediately without pay.
Perhaps the accused should share his winnings with all the taxpayers he ripped off. What do you think, Mr. Atkinson?
Your Honor, this witness is hardly qualified to make punitive recommendations, and the question is malicious.
Do you have any more questions, Mr. Maloney?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Atkinson, how much money did OHIP actually lose as a result of Mr. Murdoch's alleged scheme?
As I said, $1.2 million.
I beg your pardon? Didn't the final report by the forensic accountants actually show a credit in the accounts handled by Mr. Murdoch?
Well, yes.
A $500,000 credit?
It was close to that amount.
And wasn't it your discovery of this incredible windfall that prompted this investigation?
Yes.
So in other words, nobody at the ministry even knew the money was gone until after it had been returned with interest.
We would have found it sooner or later.
How? If Mr. Murdoch hadn't handed you this bonus, well, this so-called crime never would have been detected, would it?
Murdoch was ripping off the government.
Oh, on the contrary, Mr. Atkinson. Mr. Murdoch made money for the government, a lot of it, didn't he? No further questions.
One up, one down. What do you say?
We're holding our own.
You ever play the lottery?
Once or twice.
Odds are 14 million to 1. I cut him to a tenth of that.
Well, the judge doesn't like you, that's for sure.
Oh, but the jury's warming up to me, and it only takes one believer to hang a jury.
Do you lie awake at night figuring out the odds for any possible scenario?
Right now, I do. Later this month, I hope to be lying on a beat.
The Provincial Assessment Office has refused to reassess the taxes levied in this building.
Why does that affect us?
Mr. Cooper, hey, your company's been working here for free. Mr. Piscaris and Mr. Christopoulos don't want to subsidize you any longer. They're tearing the building down.
Harold, if you could pay Joe and me something.
We're on the edge as it is. We don't get grants.
Well, then you're going to have to start looking for another space.
But we just built the lighting grid and the booth. You could have warned us.
All right, everyone, we have work to do. We take it from, he hath a daily beauty in his life.
They are more bother than they're worth.
You really couldn't get the tax office to change the assessment?
That's what I said.
But look at those windows.
It's $50,000 a year in taxes.
It must not be.
Listen, what if we hold on? The market might approve.
Not in my estimation.
Theo, I'm carrying 75% of this place, and I say go for the demolition permit.
I guess he's the boss, huh?
No, he must die. So, I hear him coming.
Your Honor, the Historical Board has not designated this warehouse. There's no basis in law for refusing my client's demolition permit.
Your Honor, we are asking for time to consider designation. One of Ontario's most eminent architects designed this building, the Cartwright Warehouse, in 1930. The rich exterior detail and arched windows merit preservation.
The architect himself disowned this building in 1934 as the product of a compromised artistic vision.
All other Roscoe Patterson buildings, but two of them have been demolished in the past 5 years.
Miss Gibson, I'm not convinced that every old building deserves protection. The city is required to issue a demolition permit.
You can't do that!
Commissioner, clear these people out.
You can't take us out.
Shame! Shame!
Boo! Boo! That warehouse, it's not coming down. We'll appeal.
An appeal?
It's just a formality. Lawyers always say that when they get a verdict they don't like.
So we can get the demolition crew started?
Right away.
Are you sure?
Who's the lawyer here?
So this appeal is just a formality, right?
Right. I mean, what are they going to do? Tell you to put up the building again?
If it's that good, Mr. Diamond, why don't you tell all of us? Miss Gibson?
Your Honor, in spite of receiving a notice of appeal, my friend advised his clients to proceed with the demolition of the Cartwright warehouse.
Your Honor, no such notice was received.
Your Honor, it was faxed to his office previous to the start of demolition.
You may have sent it, but I didn't receive it.
I advised you at the time my original motion was denied that I would be appealing.
Is that so, Mr. Diamond?
Ms. Gibson did indeed advise me that she would be appealing, but, I mean, we all say that. It doesn't mean anything.
I find the judicial process extremely meaningful, Mr. Diamond. And that attitude is dangerously close to contempt of court.
Your Honor, I am entitled to forcefully represent the interests of my clients.
Apparently at the expense of your position as an officer of this court, Mr. Diamond.
What was I supposed to do? Guess there was a notice of appeal coming?
Would you like to show cause why I shouldn't cite you for contempt?
I'm sure Your Honor will do whatever he pleases.
Suit yourself. I fine you $1,000.
You really sucked it to that judge, Rob. You aren't going to have to pay that fine yourself, are you?
No big deal.
I have some other business we should discuss. Sometime next week?
Sure, anytime.
Ian and I drove by the warehouse site this morning. There's not much left. Felt kind of sad.
What did Nina say?
Oh, she's a practical one. You know, our business would have been on the rocks years ago if it hadn't been for her.